Well, hey, good morning, race fans. This is Jeff Zurcher and Dan Neal. I'm coming to you from Cincinnati, Ohio, and Dan Neal is at IMS right now for the 2022 running of the Indianapolis 500, which is an amazing day for race fans around the world. A beautiful day today, and always a fun day for Dan and for me as we engage throughout the race over texts and other things. So, Dan, what's the vibe there at the track right now?
Oh, man, Jeff, it's a beautiful day here. I wish you were here with me. And people are gathering in the infield. Lots of tailgating going on. And we got the big screen right across from us. We're sitting up in the top row in the north end of the track. We can see down the back straight, the turn 3 and turn 4. It's just a beautiful day. I don't think I've been here on a more beautiful day, actually, in all the years that I've come here. So it's a pleasure to be here with you, of course.
Yeah, and I was reading an article, of course, 2 years ago, the race is run in August, no fans. Last year, 40% capacity. This year, 100% capacity. In fact, I think IMS sold 35% more tickets by a certain date than the last time the track was sold out. So it should be an exciting day. And you were just telling me you saw Scott Dixon on the big board, who's one of our favorite racers, and he looks very calm and composed today.
Oh, yeah, I just saw him. We're straight across from the big board, and, man, he just looks, he's the Ice Man. So he looks confident, he's ready to go, and he's sitting there on the pole. And speaking of the pole, what do you think about that front row? I mean, history-making.
Yeah, I'm an Indiana guy, grew up, and maybe we'll get into this here in a minute, grew up just loving the race, going to the race, so I always pull for Ed Carpenter. Glad to see him up there. Would love to see him finally get one. I think the place would go crazy, kind of like it did when TK finally won. I think it was 2008. And, you never know what's going to happen, but certainly the best place to be in that first turn. Man, I got chills and thrills just thinking about it.
Yeah, it's amazing, in that first fast six, they ran last Sunday, end of the day. Scott goes out last, sets the fast pole speed, broke Scott Braden's record from 1996. That's crazy. 234 plus. But you got Ed Carpenter sitting there, I think, in fourth. But you got his teammate, Renus VK, sitting right there on the front row. Yep.
Well, speaking of that speed, I think it was the total fastest qualifying field, which eclipsed last year's field. Not every year it gets faster, but it's kind of interesting with the new technology and the shields. It's not only getting faster, but safer. And I think it was last year when the tire hit. It's escaping me, Dan. Maybe you have better memory than me. The tire bounced up and hit that new aero shield. Was it Casey Mears? Can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember that. We'll have to look back.
Have to go to the archives.
We don't have a researcher online today, so I don't know if we'll be able to grab that.
But so since we can't remember just last year, any 500s stick out to you dating back in any number of years?
Well, it's just kind of weird. I was with my daughter Lauren last night. I was like, it just dawned on me. It was 30 years ago. Linda and I were sitting here. It was bitterly cold in 1992. We're sitting here freezing to death. Linda's 8.5 months pregnant with Lauren. And I don't know what we were thinking, but, what the heck, and it was so cold. And it ended up being the closest Indy 500 finish with Alan surpassing Scott Goodyear in the final few feet.
Yeah, little Al. That's one of my more memorable ones. Little Al took it home. I was listening to it on the radio, and they weren't entirely sure right away. And I think they ended up winning by 400ths or something like that. That was a favorite one of mine. The first one that I remember, or the one I remember most distinctly, other than hearing a radio call when Gordon Johncock won, I think in 82, 82, was the 85 race when Danny Sullivan did his spin and win, and that was the first race I ever attended. And I was definitely pulling for Mario, and definitely not pulling for Danny Sullivan, but nonetheless a very memorable Indianapolis 500 back in 1985.
Yeah, that was a good one for sure. And speaking of Mario, 1969, Mario wins here, and we have not seen an Andretti in Victory Circle since 1969. We saw Marco in his rookie year almost beat Sam Hornish. Sam passes him again right at the end of the race. So, a few years ago, Marco's sitting on the pole. I don't know, was that last year or year before? Maybe that was year before. But anyway, Marco's here today. You never know.
Yeah.
Don't count out an Andretti, but this place has not treated him well.
Well,
I remember sitting here in turn 4 in 1992, and Michael was leading the race. I mean, he's just blowing everybody away, and then mechanical failure.
Yeah.
He's out.
Yeah. Well, speaking of rookies, another notable race for me was in 2011 when J.R. Hildebrand was a rookie. And then on the final lap, it's like, oh, he's got it, till he hit the wall on the final turn. And, of course, that's when Dan Weldon drove by, and 4 months later, approximately, that racer was tragically killed. So rookies and memorable names, I think that's what this race is all about. And I think I read somewhere there's 7 rookies in the field this year. And otherwise, there's no other new drivers. Everybody else who competed last year, other than those 7 new rookies, is back.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, this place, it's never over until they cross that yard of bricks. So, talking about Hildebrand there, and Dan Weldon, what a racer. Good to see him win that race, and then just tragic loss. And Dan Weldon, we actually got to race against him in the RoboPog and the go-kart.
That's right.
And he just blew by us one time, blew by Henry, and it was like, oh my gosh, I thought we were moving, but Dan was really moving. So
yeah. So Dan, obviously you've been in racing for a long time, been a fan, but what is it about maybe the Indy 500 or open wheel that is really special to you?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm with a good friend today, Dr. Pittman, and he came up with me. He hasn't been here 40-plus years, so...
I didn't know he was that old. I thought he was only 39. How's that work?
Yeah, he looks 39 for sure, but, I guess he's not, You're 39.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Dr. Pittman was asking me about that. He's like, how'd you get... And the only thing I remember watching as a kid... Now, I got car and driver, and I got road track. But the only thing I remember watching was the Indy 500. I never watched NASCAR. I just was into it. I loved open-wheel racing. And back in those days, my mom would, I was telling Dr. Pittman this, we had to go off to the cemeteries to put flowers on our relatives who had died, many years ago. And I would slip off to the car and tune in the radio station down in Louisville so I could hear the start of the race.
Yeah.
And then the broadcast was delayed, so I would go to my uncle's house because we didn't get ABC. So I'd go to my uncle's house at like 8 o'clock at night. We'd sit there and watch the race together. And my uncle since has passed on, but I just always remember that. And then I came here for the first time when I was 15 in 1976. And I love open wheel racing. It's just something about it that's just really different.
Well, and you mentioned you're there with Greg, and it's special. I used to go every year from a certain point, probably around 1994, for about 10 years with my best friend. And we sat in pit row. He had passes, and he was tragically killed in 2003. And I've not been back to a 500 since. It's a special place, and I don't know how I would do. Actually, it's funny, I get emotional being from Indiana and growing up listening and watching and wanting to race, and I got, kind of too bulky to be a race car driver. And plus, there's also that you got to have a bulky wallet. Didn't have that either. But special place emotionally. We used to do field trips, as grade school students in Indiana. And that's what I said, always pulling for the drivers with the Indiana connection, and thanks for correcting me on EC there. I thought he's actually in row 2. with TK and Erickson, I believe, which I was reading some notes on the race. That's the most experienced row this year with 41 career starts combined. So look for good things out of that row. The least experienced row is actually right behind them with Award, Rosenquist, and I don't even know it's a rookie, Grosjean, Romain Grosjean.
Grosjean, just so you know, you may not know this if you don't follow Formula One. So he was a Formula One driver, and I encourage people to look up the fiery crash he was in. That would have been 2 years ago.
Okay.
And I mean, it's a miracle he's alive.
Yeah.
He literally got himself out of the car that was engulfed in flames. Kind of reminiscent of Niki Lauda in 1976. So anyway, that was kind of strange. Hey, we got one 4-time winner in this field. What do you think about that?
Well, I was again listening to a report earlier driving this morning talking about Helio, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said, TK was about going to retire 3 years ago, and then he said, I've got a new vibe. Helio's got a new vibe, and we've also got another notable driver from a different series, just like Grosjean, Jimmy Johnson. So he's in it to win it. This isn't just fun for him. He was in the booth last year. This year he's competing, and everything I've been reading about him said, he was really disappointed that he touched the wall in qualifying. Otherwise, he thought he could be in the front row. So it was great to see Helio win it last year. Love to see him climb the fence. And, again, I love this race. And I think, again, as you and I communicate, you pull for drivers, but we also pull for specific teams at times, too. So that's a little bit different than maybe growing up as a boy. I just knew the drivers and the car colors, didn't even know the thing about the teams. So.
Yeah. Hey, I'm excited to see, one guy I would like to see win the series. I don't particularly care if he wins the 500. He's won. That's Will Power.
That's right.
What an interesting name to have, right? When you're racing cars, right? Will Power. Right?
Absolutely.
So he's our points leader right now, and he's sitting back. I think he may be the first Penske car, which they're back in row maybe 4.
Yeah.
Not sure. I don't have it in front of me.
But as we know, that sometimes that seldom seems to matter with Team Penske. I know people are kind of tired of their dominance, but relative dominance, that is. But yeah, and Will's the one that beat out Ed Carpenter back in 2018. I think for when Ed got second, which is his best finish. So.
Yeah. So I think secretly, let's root for Ed Carpenter today. We like a lot of these guys. And hey, if Scott Dixon wins, he ties Mario Andretti for the most IndyCar wins, or not the most, but second. AJ's ruling that list. Doubt anybody's going to catch him at 74 or something like that.
Right.
But Mario's at 52, Scott's at 51, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, the forecast looks great, and I know you have great company, you have great seats. Any final closing thoughts here as we wrap up this pre-race conversation?
Yeah, I just think it's going to be a great race, and I look forward to our texting commentary. I've loved that over the years. I don't know when we started that. I kind of wish I'd have kept all the text messages. I didn't. And I know we texted. I was in Valley once, and we're texting. I was in Haiti once, and we're texting. And so it's just going to be a blast. And, you're a great friend, and you love this place like I do.
Yeah,
so
well,
forward to it.
Thank you. I wonder if it was the year I was putting in a water heater. I had a water heater go out a couple of days before the race a number of years ago and had to get a new one in. And that might have been when we first started doing it. But it's almost as fun for me as watching the race or listening to the race itself. So I appreciate you, your knowledge, your friendship, and enjoy that great day with your friend there at the track.
Yeah, so this has been great. We'll look forward to May of 2023, and we'll do our pre-race report again as I'm watching the Purdue band line up here, getting ready to go out.
Well, make sure you enjoy back home again in Indiana. I always sing that when I'm with my family, when I drive across the Indiana state line coming home, so they're used to it. I just don't do it as well as Jim Neighbors used to do.
No way. So,
all right, my friend.
Have a great day, my friend.
Yep, we'll talk to you soon. All right, bye-bye.